Maya Sullivan stood at the entrance of the Grand Hall and tried not to feel small. Around her, 300 cadets from 47 different species pushed through the massive doors of the Galactic Federation Military Academy. The station called Sentinel Prime hung in orbit above a blue-green world, and through the transparent ceiling, Maya could see stars that humans had only dreamed about 2 generations ago. She adjusted the strap on her duffel bag and walked forward. Other cadets carried hover trunks that floated beside them, packed with equipment from their home worlds. Maya had a single bag with standard-issue uniforms, a data pad, and one personal item wrapped in oiled cloth at the bottom. The orientation hall buzzed with a dozen different languages, all filtered through universal translators. Maya heard clicks, whistles, and sounds that made her teeth ache. She found her assigned station and stood at attention. A tall reptilian instructor with 4 arms and copper-colored scales moved down the line. His name tag read Vexthor, and his eyes, all 4 of them, missed nothing. "Equipment inspection," he announced. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. All personal weapons must be scanned and registered. No exceptions. Maya watched as cadets ahead of her presented their weapons. A centauri with glowing blue skin placed a blade that hummed with energy on the scanning table. The machine beeped and displayed information in holographic text. The next cadet, a massive being made of what looked like living stone, presented a hammer that sparked with electricity. When Maya's turn came, she reached into her bag and pulled out the wrapped bundle. She unfolded the oiled cloth carefully, revealing a simple blade about 10 inches long. The handle was wrapped in old leather, dark with age and use. The blade itself was dark gray, not the bright shine of modern alloys. Someone behind her snickered, "Is that iron?" The voice belonged to the Centauri cadet, the one called Zeklan. His skin flashed bright with amusement. "Actual primitive iron?" More laughter rippled through the cadets nearby. A human girl from the Mars colonies, Kira Voss, stepped slightly away from Maya, as if embarrassed to be associated with her. Kira wore an expensive jacket with her family's corporate logo and carried a plasma pistol that probably cost more than Maya's childhood home. "Silence, instructor." Vexthor's command cut through the noise like a blade. He looked at Maya with 2 of his eyes while the other 2 scanned the crowd. "Present your weapon, Cadet Sullivan." Maya placed the dagger on the scanning table. Her hand was steady even though her heart pounded. She had carried this blade from Earth, through the security checkpoints, past the judgment of customs officials who had looked at it the same way these cadets did now, like it was a relic, a joke, something that belonged in a museum, not in the hands of a soldier. The scanner hummed to life. Blue light washed over the blade from base to tip. Maya had seen this process a dozen times already. The scan usually took 3 seconds. The machine beeped, displayed the weapon's composition and threat level, and everyone moved on. But the scanner didn't beep after 3 seconds. It kept humming. The blue light intensified, cycling through different spectrums. Purple, green, something close to ultraviolet that made Maya's eyes water. Instructor Vexthor's scales rippled, a sign of surprise in his species. He leaned closer to the display. His 4th eye, the one usually kept closed for deep scanning, opened wide. The laughter died. Cadets pressed forward, trying to see what the scanner showed. The holographic display began populating with data, line after line of text scrolling faster than Maya could read. But she caught fragments, words that made her breath catch. Meteoric iron, extraterrestrial origin, quantum-level molecular alignment, historical significance then in letters that glowed bright gold, classification, legendary artifact. The hall went silent. Maya could hear her own heartbeat. She could hear the ventilation system cycling air. She could hear Zeklan's bioluminescent skin dim from bright blue to pale gray. Instructor Vexthor read the display slowly, his translator converting his native tongue into standard galactic. Material composition: 68% meteoric iron, 28% nickel, trace elements including iridium, platinum, and crystalline structures of unknown origin. He paused. Origin: impact event, Earth, approximately 17,000 years before forging. Maya's hands felt numb. She had known the blade was old. She had known it came from her great-great-grandfather, who had forged it during something called World War II. But she hadn't known about the meteorite. No one in her family had mentioned that. Vexthor continued reading. Edge integrity. enhanced through repeated thermal cycling. Manual folding techniques created molecular bonding, typically found only in quantum-forged weapons. His voice dropped lower. Blood trace analysis indicates use in 23 recorded conflicts across 6 generations. The instructor looked at Maya, all 4 eyes focused on her now. Around the hall, every cadet stood frozen, watching. Cadet Sullivan. Vexthor's voice carried a weight it hadn't before, something like respect. Do you understand what you carry? It was my great-great-grandfather's, Maya said. Her voice came out steady, which surprised her. He forged it before he went to war. Then my great-grandfather carried it. Then my grandfather. Then my mother. She paused. Now me, 6 generations, Vexthor said quietly. He reached out with one clawed hand and carefully lifted the blade. The scanner's light followed it, painting the walls with shifting colors. This weapon has been in active service for over 400 Earth years. Zeklan found his voice. It came out smaller than before. But it's still just iron. My quantum blade cost 3 million credits. It can cut through battle armor, hull plating, even energy shields. Vexthor turned to look at him. The movement was slow, deliberate. Your blade was purchased, Cadet Zeklan. Manufactured in a factory, shipped in a box. It is a tool, and a fine one. He held up Maya's dagger. The blade caught the light and seemed to glow from within. This was forged by hand from a piece of the cosmos. It has been carried through conflicts I suspect you have only read about in history files. It has saved lives and taken lives. It has been passed from parent to child with the understanding that it means something. The instructor placed the dagger back on the table in front of Maya. Your blade was purchased. Hers was earned. Maya picked up the weapon. The leather-wrapped handle fit her palm the way it always had, worn smooth by the hands of her family. She had held this blade 1,000 times. She had practiced with it in her backyard on Earth, watched by her mother who had watched by her own mother before that. But she had never really understood what it was. A legendary artifact. The words felt too big, too important. Another instructor entered the hall, moving quickly. She was human, older, with gray hair and a scar that ran from her left eyebrow to her jaw. Her uniform carried the rank insignia of an admiral. The name tag read Morrison. Is it confirmed? Admiral Morrison asked Vexthor. Her eyes were already on Maya's blade. Confirmed, Vexthor said. He gestured at the scanner display, which still showed the classification in glowing gold letters. No doubt whatsoever. Morrison approached Maya. The admiral was tall and Maya had to look up to meet her eyes. Those eyes were hard, weathered by decades of service, but they softened slightly as they moved from Maya's face to the blade in her hands. Cadet Sullivan, the admiral said. I knew your mother. Kate Sullivan, captain of the merchant vessel Horizon Runner before she joined Federation service. Morrison's scarred face shifted into something that might have been a smile. She mentioned she carried a family blade. I never imagined it was legendary. She never told me, Maya admitted, about what it was. She just said it was important to keep it in the family. To use it, not lock it away. She was right to do that, Morrison said. If she had told you, you might have been afraid to carry it. Afraid you weren't worthy. The admiral reached out and touched the blade's edge with one finger, testing the sharpness. She nodded, satisfied. But you are worthy, or it wouldn't have bonded with you? Bonded? Maya asked. Legendary artifacts choose their bearers, Morrison explained. They're not just weapons. They're connections to everyone who came before. Every person who carried this blade left something behind in it. Their skill, their courage, their purpose. She looked Maya in the eyes. And now you'll add your own. Around the hall, cadets whispered to each other. Maya caught fragments of their conversations. Some sounded awed, others sounded skeptical. Zeklan's bioluminescent skin flickered between colors, settling on a dark purple that his species used to show anger or embarrassment. Kira Voss, the human girl from Mars, stepped forward. Her expression had changed. The embarrassment was gone, replaced by something like curiosity. Or maybe calculation. I didn't know humans had legendary artifacts, Kira said. I thought those were only owned by royal families and ancient species. Legendary artifacts don't care about age or royalty, Admiral Morrison said. Her voice carried through the hall, making sure everyone heard. They care about purpose, about sacrifice, about being used in service of something greater than yourself. She looked around at all the assembled cadets. Humanity is young in the galaxy, yes, but we understand something older species sometimes forget. We understand that tools don't make legends. People do. Maya felt the weight of every eye on her. The blade in her hand suddenly. Maya reported to Admiral Morrison's office 2 hours after orientation ended. The office sat in the command tower of Sentinel Prime, with windows that looked out over the docking bays where ships from 100 worlds came and went like metal birds. Maya stood at attention in front of the Admiral's desk, her dagger now secured properly in a sheath on her belt. Morrison looked up from her data pad and gestured to a chair. "Sit, Cadet. This isn't a disciplinary meeting." Maya sat, though she kept her back straight. The Admiral's office was simple, almost bare. No decorations except for a single photo on the desk, showing a younger Morrison standing with a group of soldiers in front of a damaged starship. "I've sent word to Professor Haltrex," Morrison said. "He's the Federation's leading expert on legendary artifacts. He'll want to examine your blade properly." She paused, studying Maya's face. "How are you handling this? It's not every day you discover you're carrying a piece of galactic history." "I'm not sure yet," Maya admitted. "It's the same blade I've always carried. But now it feels different, heavier somehow." "That's the weight of understanding," Morrison said. She leaned back in her chair. "Your mother and I served together for 3 years. Did she ever tell you about the Outer Rim skirmishes?" "No, ma'am, we were protecting colony ships from raiders. Your mother commanded a small frigate, nothing fancy. But she was one of the best tactical minds I've ever worked with." Morrison smiled at the memory. "There was this one battle. We were outnumbered 5-1. The other captains wanted to retreat, but your mother had this dagger on her belt just like you do now. She touched it once like she was asking advice from someone who wasn't there. Then she came up with a strategy that saved 2,000 colonists." Maya felt something tighten in her chest. Her mother had never talked much about her service. She had died when Maya was 14, killed when pirates attacked the station where she was stationed. Maya had inherited the blade then, along with a letter that simply said, "Keep it close. Keep it in service. Make me proud." The office door opened without a knock. The being that entered looked like nothing Maya had ever seen. Professor Haltrex floated a foot above the ground, his body a transparent mass of what looked like jellyfish tentacles surrounding clusters of glowing crystals. Those crystals pulsed with different colors as he moved. "Admiral," the professor's translator said. His actual voice was like wind chimes. "Cadet Sullivan." "I came as quickly as I could," Morrison stood. "Professor, thank you for coming. I believe you'll find this worth your time." The professor drifted toward Maya, his crystalline clusters rotating to examine her from multiple angles. "May I?" he asked, gesturing toward the blade at her hip. Maya unsheathed the dagger and held it out. Haltrex didn't touch it immediately. Instead, he produced a small device from somewhere in his floating mass and scanned the blade from several inches away. The crystals in his body began pulsing faster, cycling through colors Maya didn't have names for. "Extraordinary," he breathed. "Truly extraordinary. Cadet Sullivan, do you have any idea how rare this is?" The Admiral said there are only 17 legendary artifacts in Federation space, Maya said. 16 until today, Haltrex corrected. One was lost 30 years ago when the royal family of Andor Prime fell in civil war. He floated closer, his attention entirely on the blade. "But even among legendary artifacts, this is special. Most legendary weapons are dormant, locked in vaults carried only for ceremony. Your blade is active. It has been in continuous use for 4 centuries. "What does that mean?" Maya asked. "Active versus dormant." Haltrex's crystals pulsed bright blue, which Morrison had once told Maya meant excitement in his species. "Legendary artifacts are not merely objects, Cadet. They exist partially in quantum space, connected to every person who has ever wielded them. When an artifact is used regularly, especially in situations of genuine need, it grows stronger. The quantum connections deepen. The weapon doesn't just remember its users, it learns from them." The professor finally reached out and touched the blade with a tendril. The moment he made contact, the dagger began to glow with the same luminescent patterns Maya had noticed before. Threads of light ran along the blade's surface, pulsing like a heartbeat. "Remarkable," Haltrex whispered. "I can feel them. All 6 generations. Their experiences are encoded in the quantum structure of the metal." He looked at Maya with several of his crystalline clusters. "When you wield this blade, Cadet, you do not fight alone. You carry the accumulated combat experience of everyone who came before you." Maya stared at the glowing patterns. "Is that why I felt different in the equipment hall?" When everyone was watching, I felt calm. Like I knew what to do? Yes, Morrison said softly. The blade was already beginning to bond with you. It recognized you as worthy. But I haven't done anything, Maya protested. I'm just a cadet. My mother was a captain. My grandfather fought in the colony wars. My great-great-grandfather helped win World War II. What have I done to be worthy of this? Haltrex released the blade and floated back. The glow faded slowly. You asked the wrong question, Cadet Sullivan. Legendary artifacts do not choose based on past accomplishments. They choose based on potential, on character, on the willingness to serve something greater than oneself. He paused. Your ancestors were worthy because of what they did. You are worthy because of what you will do. Maya slid the blade back into its sheath. The weight felt different now. Not heavier or lighter, but more real, more present. The office door opened again. This time it was Instructor Vexthor, and he looked troubled. Admiral, we have a situation. Morrison's expression hardened. What kind of situation? The council representatives have heard about the legendary artifact. They're requesting an immediate meeting. Vexthor's scales rippled, showing agitation. They want to see the blade. Some of them want to take possession of it. Absolutely not, Morrison said flatly. They argue that legendary artifacts are too valuable to be in the hands of a first-year cadet, Vexthor continued. They suggest it should be placed in the Academy Museum for safekeeping. Maya felt ice in her stomach. They want to lock it away. That is precisely what they want, Haltrex said. His crystalline clusters had gone dark red, showing anger. And it is precisely the wrong thing to do. He turned to Morrison. Admiral, you must not allow this. If they lock this blade away, it will go dormant within a year. All the accumulated knowledge, all the quantum connections, they will fade. 400 years of service will end. The blade belongs to Cadet Sullivan's family, Morrison said. It's not Academy property. They will argue that it's too dangerous, Vexthor warned. That legendary artifacts grant their bearers advantages other cadets don't have. That it's unfair. Life is unfair, Morrison snapped. Some cadets arrive here with expensive equipment. Some have genetic enhancements. Some were trained by the best instructors their wealthy families could afford. She stood, her chair scraping back. Cadet Sullivan arrived with a blade her great-great-grandfather forged by hand. That's not unfair. That's heritage. Nevertheless, Vexthor said quietly, the council meets in 1 hour. They expect you to attend, Admiral. And they expect Cadet Sullivan to bring the blade. Maya looked at the three of them. I'll go, she said. If they want to see it, I'll show them. This is not a simple presentation, Haltrex warned. There will be political pressure, offers of money, threats perhaps disguised as concerns for your safety. They can threaten all they want, Maya said. She touched the hilt of the dagger. This has been in my family for 6 generations. My mother died carrying it. I'm not giving it up because some council members think it's too special for a cadet to use. Morrison smiled, grimly. Good. Then we'll face them, together. The council chamber was a circular room with seats rising in tiers around a central floor. Maya stood in that central space with Admiral Morrison beside her, and Professor Haltrex floating slightly behind. Above them, 47 council members representing the Federation's major species looked down like judges. The chairman, a tall being with silver skin and 3 faces, spoke first. Cadet Sullivan, we have reviewed the scanner data from your equipment inspection. The information is difficult to believe, it's all accurate. Haltrex interjected. I have personally verified the blade's classification. We don't doubt the classification, Professor, another council member said. This one was human. A man named Gregory Walsh who represented the Mars colonies. We question whether a first-year cadet should possess such a weapon. Maya felt her jaw tighten. The blade is mine. It's been in my family for over 400 years, and that's admirable, Walsh continued. His voice was smooth, reasonable. But consider, Cadet. Legendary artifacts are priceless. They're dangerous in the wrong hands. Wouldn't it be better to place the blade somewhere safe? Somewhere it can be studied, protected? Somewhere it can be forgotten? Haltrex said sharply. That is what you mean. Lock it in a vault where it will wither and die. The council chamber filled with murmurs. Walsh held up his hands. No one is suggesting the blade be forgotten. But we must consider the broader implications. Other cadets will see this as unfair. How can they compete with someone wielding a legendary artifact? They compete the same way they always have, Morrison said, with skill, dedication, and training. Cadet Sullivan's blade doesn't make her invincible. It makes her the bearer of a legacy. That comes with its own The arena dominated the center level of Sentinel Prime. Maya stood at the entrance with 200 other first-year cadets, staring at the massive space that could simulate any combat environment in the known galaxy. Above them, viewing galleries held instructors and senior cadets eager to watch the newcomers fail their first real test. The Crucible Challenge happened once a month. 4 cadets entered as a team. The simulation threw everything at them: hostile environments, equipment failures, enemy combatants, civilians in danger. Most teams failed. The instructor said failure taught better lessons than success. Maya suspected the instructors just enjoyed watching cadets panic. Team assignments were random, posted on datapads 30 minutes before the exercise. Maya checked hers and felt her stomach sink. She was teamed with Jack Palmer, which was good. Jack was nervous but reliable. The other 2 were a problem. One was a hulking Kronar named Throck, who had made it clear he thought humans were weak. The other was a sleek, 4-armed Velasian named Shira, who hadn't spoken to Maya once since orientation. "Great," Jack muttered, reading his own datapad. "We got the 2 cadets most likely to let us die to prove a point." Maya adjusted the dagger on her belt. The blade had become familiar weight in the 3 weeks since the council meeting. She had trained with it every morning, following the exercises her mother had taught her. The blade seemed to guide her movements now, suggesting angles and positions she hadn't known she knew. "Attention!" Instructor Vexthor's voice boomed across the arena floor. "Your scenario begins in 30 seconds. Objective: rescue civilians trapped in a colony dome under attack by automated defense drones. The drones have malfunctioned and identify all life forms as threats. You must extract a minimum of 5 civilians and neutralize the drone threat. Your performance will be graded on speed, efficiency, and civilian casualties." The lights dimmed. The arena's holographic systems activated, and suddenly Maya stood in a colony dome on some distant world. The sky above showed an alien sunset through a transparent ceiling. Buildings rose around them, and somewhere in the distance she heard screaming. "Move!" Thruck growled. He lumbered forward, his species' natural armor making him nearly immune to small arms fire. Shira followed silently, her 4 arms already reaching for weapons. Maya and Jack ran to catch up. The team moved through streets that felt real enough to trick Maya's brain. She could smell smoke, feel heat from a burning building, hear the high-pitched whine of drone propulsion systems. "There," Shira pointed with 2 arms. 3 humans huddled in a doorway while a drone circled above them. The machine was about the size of a large dog, bristling with sensors and weapons. "I'll draw it off," Throck said. "You weaklings get the civilians out." Before anyone could object, the Kronar charged. The drone immediately locked onto him and opened fire with plasma bolts. They splashed harmlessly off Throck's hide. He roared and swung a massive fist, but the drone was too quick. It darted away, firing from a new angle. "Jack, Maya, get those people," Shira ordered. She deployed an energy shield from her forearm and moved to support Throck. Maya and Jack sprinted to the civilians. They were simulation holograms, but the arena's systems made them react like real people. One woman clutched a child. An older man had a wounded leg. A teenage boy looked ready to bolt. "We're Federation cadets," Maya said, using the calm voice her mother had taught her. "We're here to get you out. Stay close and follow us." The man with the wounded leg shook his head. "I can't run." "Leave me, not happening," Jack said. He got under the man's arm and supported his weight. Maya led them back toward the extraction point, a highlighted zone at the edge of the dome. But before they made it 10 meters, alarms shrieked. 3 more drones descended from above. "Contact!" Shira yelled. She fired her plasma rifle at one drone, destroying it. But the other 2 split up, one going for Throck and the other diving toward Maya's group. "Get down," Maya shouted. The civilians dropped. Maya didn't. She drew her dagger as the drone came at her with guns blazing. In that moment, something changed. The world slowed. Not actually, she knew, but her perception shifted. She could see the drone's flight path, predict where it would be. More than that, she felt her great-great-grandfather beside her. Not literally, but the memory of him encoded in the blade. He had faced flying enemies before. Not drones, but aircraft strafing his position in some jungle war. He had learned to read their patterns, anticipate their moves. Maya's body moved before her mind caught up. She dove forward and rolled under the drone's first pass. As it curved back for a second attack, she leaped. Her hand found purchase on the drone's smooth hull. The machine bucked, trying to shake her off, but she held tight with one hand while the other brought her dagger up. The blade punched through the drone's armored casing like it was paper. Maya felt the weapon guide her hand, finding the exact weak point where the power core connected to the propulsion system. She twisted the blade and yanked it free as the drone sparked and fell. She landed in a crouch, breathing hard. The civilians stared at her with wide eyes. That was impossible, the teenage boy whispered. Maya sheathed her blade. Nothing's impossible, move. They reached the extraction point safely. The arena systems registered 5 civilians saved. But the exercise wasn't over. Vex Thor's voice announced that more civilians were trapped in a collapsing building on the far side of the dome. The team regrouped. Throck's armor showed scorch marks, but he looked unharmed. Shira had destroyed 2 more drones. Jack's face was pale but determined. We need to split up, Shira said. Half get the civilians, half deal with the drones. Bad idea, Jack argued. We're stronger together. We don't have time to debate, Throck rumbled. More drones incoming. He was right. Maya's enhanced hearing, courtesy of the blade's influence, picked up the telltale whine of multiple machines. 6 of them at least, converging on their position. Maya made a decision. Jack, go with Shira. Get those civilians. Throck and I will hold the drones here. Everyone stared at her. A human ordering a Kronar warrior around was not typical. You think you can fight beside me, little human? Throck asked. His tone wasn't mocking, just curious. I know I can, Maya replied. Because I'm not just me. She drew her dagger. The blade began to glow with those luminescent patterns brighter than Maya had ever seen. In the viewing gallery above, she heard someone gasp. Throck studied her for a moment, then nodded slowly. Very well. Let's show these machines what real warriors look like. Jack and Shira ran for the collapsing building. Maya and Throck stood side by side as 6 drones descended from the artificial sky. The machines spread out, surrounding them, weapons charging. I take left, Throck said. You take right. Actually, Maya said, watching the drone's formation with eyes that saw more than they should. I have a better idea. She glanced at the Kronar. Trust me? Throck snorted. Why would I trust a human I barely know? Because my blade has been winning fights since before your species joined the Federation, Maya replied. And right now it's telling me how to win this one. There was a long pause. The drones moved closer. Then Throck laughed, a sound like grinding boulders. Fine. One chance, human. What do I do? When I move, you charge straight forward. Draw their fire. Your armor can take it. I'll handle the rest. This is a terrible plan. I know. Maya smiled. Ready? She didn't wait for an answer. She ran straight at the nearest drone, blade held low. The machine opened fire. Maya twisted, the plasma bolts missing by centimeters. Her great-grandmother whispered in her mind, showing her how to read the timing between shots. Throck roared and charged. All 6 drones immediately shifted focus to the larger threat. Exactly what Maya had predicted. While they concentrated fire on the Kronar, Maya moved like water through their formation. Her dagger found one drone's power core, then another, then a third. The quantum blade didn't just cut. It disrupted the machines on a fundamental level, scrambling their systems and causing cascading failures. Each strike was surgical, precise, guided by centuries of accumulated combat knowledge. Throck destroyed 2 drones with his bare hands, laughing the whole time. Maya dispatched the last one with a jump and strike that would have been impossible for an ordinary cadet. But she wasn't ordinary anymore. She was the blade's bearer, and it had decided she was worthy of its full power. When the dust settled, all 6 drones lay in smoking ruins. Throck looked at Maya with new respect. That was not terrible, he admitted. That was actually quite good. From across the dome, an explosion. Maya's head snapped up. The collapsing building where Jack and Shira had gone. It was coming down faster than planned. Something had gone wrong. She ran without thinking. Throck followed, keeping pace despite his size. They reached the building in time to see Shira emerge carrying 1 civilian. Jack was still inside, along with at least 2 more people. The structure groaned. Support beams buckled. Jack had seconds, maybe less. Maya didn't slow down. She charged into the building through a gap in the fallen debris. Smoke filled her lungs. Heat scorched her skin. But the blade guided her through the chaos, showing her the safe path. The route her grandfather had once taken through a burning ship during the colony wars. She found Jack on the 2nd floor, trying to support 2 civilians, an elderly couple too frail to move quickly. The floor beneath them was cracking. Jack, Maya yelled over the noise of the collapsing structure. The window. The announcement came 2 weeks after the Crucible Challenge. Founding Day was approaching, the anniversary of the Federation's creation 500 years ago. To celebrate, the Academy would host its traditional tournament. Any cadet from any year could enter. Winners gained prestige, glory, and the attention of military recruiters looking for talent. Maya had no intention of entering. She had already drawn enough attention. Then the formal challenge arrived. It came on her datapad during breakfast. Jack saw her face change and immediately asked what was wrong. Maya showed him the screen. A formal duel challenge from Cadet Zeklan, witnessed and approved by 3 senior cadets from prominent families. Refusing was technically allowed, but everyone would know. Everyone would see it as cowardice. You don't have to accept, Jack said. This is a trap, I know, Maya replied. She thought about her great-great-grandfather, who had never backed down from a fight in his life. She thought about her mother, who had stayed at her post when running would have been easier. But if I refuse, it'll look like I'm afraid. Like the blade is the only reason I'm any good. The blade is a reason you're good, Jack pointed out. It's not the only reason. Maya closed the datapad. I accept by noon everyone at the Academy knew. The human girl with the legendary dagger would face the Centauri prodigy with the quantum blade. It was the kind of matchup people would talk about for years. Old against new. Earned versus bought. Humanity versus established galactic power. Admiral Morrison called Maya to her office. The Admiral looked tired. I can't order you not to accept the challenge, she said. But I can tell you that Zeklan is one of the best fighters in the Academy. He's been training since he could walk. His family has spent millions on his education. I know, Maya said. You've been here 3 months. Morrison leaned forward. 3 months? Maya, against his 3 years of academy training and 10 years before that with private instructors. My great-great-grandfather had 3 weeks of basic training before they shipped him overseas, Maya replied. He made it work. He also had a whole lot of luck, Morrison said quietly, and eventually his luck ran out. That's how your family got the blade in the first place. She paused. I knew your mother, Maya. I don't want to deliver a folded flag to whatever family you have left. Maya met the Admiral's eyes. I'm not doing this because of the blade, or because of pride. I'm doing it because if I back down, every other human in this academy will pay for it. They'll be seen as weak, as lesser. She touched the dagger at her belt. My family's legacy isn't just this blade. It's the principle that we don't quit when things get hard. Morrison sighed. You sound exactly like your mother. She pulled up a file on her desk display. I'm assigning Instructor Vexthor to train you. You have 2 weeks until the tournament. Use them well. The next 14 days were brutal. Vexthor woke Maya before dawn and worked her until she could barely stand. The Draconid instructor was merciless, using all 4 arms to attack from angles that shouldn't have been possible. He moved like liquid metal, striking faster than Maya's eyes could follow. Your blade gives you advantages, Vexthor said during one session. His claws raked toward Maya's face. She blocked with the dagger, and the legendary metal held against his natural weapons. But advantages are not invincibility. Zeklan will have studied you. He knows you rely on speed and precision. He will have prepared counters, then what do I do? Maya gasped, dodging a sweeping kick. You stop thinking like a cadet and start thinking like a warrior. Vexthor paused the attack. The blade carries the memories of fighters who faced impossible odds and survived. Trust it. But more importantly, trust yourself. They trained in every environment the arena could simulate. Zero-gravity combat, fighting in near-total darkness, facing multiple opponents while protecting civilians. Vexthor never let her rest, never let her get comfortable. Jack brought her meals when she forgot to eat. Throck sparred with her, teaching her how to fight opponents with superior reach and strength. Even Shira helped, showing her Valasian techniques for reading an opponent's body language. Professor Haltrex visited one evening when Maya was practicing alone. The elderly alien watched her move through a series of strikes and parries, the blade leaving trails of light in the dim arena. You have improved dramatically, Haltrex observed. But I sense you are troubled. Maya lowered the blade. I keep wondering if I'm good enough. If I'm worthy of this. She gestured at the dagger. 6 generations of my family carried this blade. What if I'm the one who fails? What if I'm the one who breaks the chain? Haltrex drifted closer, his crystalline clusters pulsing soft blue. May I tell you something about legendary artifacts, Cadet? Please. They do not choose the strongest bearers. They do not choose the most skilled or the most experienced. Haltrex's lights shifted to warm gold. They choose those who understand that strength is not about never falling. It is about getting back up. Your great-great-grandfather was not a soldier when he forged this blade. He was a blacksmith. He became a warrior because circumstances demanded it. Maya looked down at the blade in her hands. You are worthy, Haltrex continued. Not because of what you have done, but because of how you think. You worry about failing. You worry about your family's legacy. These worries mean you understand what is at stake. That understanding is the foundation of true strength. What if I lose? Maya asked quietly. Then you lose, Haltrex said simply. The blade will not abandon you for losing a tournament. Your family's legacy will not crumble because of one defeat. What matters is not victory, but how you face the challenge. With courage. With honor. With the knowledge that you tried your best. Maya nodded slowly. She felt something settle in her chest. An acceptance of the possibility of failure, and with it a strange kind of peace. Thank you, Professor. The night before the tournament, Maya sat in her quarters and wrote a letter. Not a digital message, but actual words on actual paper, the way people used to communicate on Earth. She wrote to the family she barely remembered, the aunts and uncles and cousins scattered across human space. She told them about the blade, about what it meant, about how it connected her to a past she was only beginning to understand. If she lost tomorrow, if she embarrassed herself and her family's name, at least they would know she had tried. At least they would know she had honored the legacy the only way she knew how. She sealed the letter and placed it in her desk. Then she cleaned her blade one final time, said a quiet prayer to ancestors who might or might not be listening, and went to sleep. The grand arena was packed. Thousands of spectators filled the galleries from every species in the Federation. The preliminary rounds had eliminated dozens of competitors. Now only 16 remained, and the brackets showed Maya would face Zeklan in the semifinals if they both won their earlier matches. They both won. Maya's first opponent was a skilled Valasian who had been runner-up the previous year. The match lasted 7 minutes. Maya's blade found every weakness in the Valasian's defense, guided by her great-grandmother's experience fighting similar opponents during the colony wars. The victory was clean, respectful and decisive. Zeklan's match was different. He destroyed his opponent, a third-year human cadet named Peter Walsh who was related to the council member who had tried to buy Maya's blade. Zeklan showed no mercy, using his quantum blade to humiliate Walsh before finally ending the match. The crowd's cheers turned uncomfortable. The semi-final matches began. Maya faced a massive Kronar named Gorath, even larger than Throck. The Kronar wielded a plasma hammer that could shatter stone. He was slow but unstoppable, and Maya's blade barely scratched his natural armor. For 6 minutes Maya ran. She dodged. She waited for openings that didn't come. The crowd began to mutter. Was the legendary blade not enough? Had the human girl met her match? Then Maya stopped running. She remembered what Vexthor had taught her. Advantages are not invincibility, but neither is strength. Gorath was powerful, but power required energy, and energy had limits. She let him chase her. Let him swing his massive hammer. Each miss cost him stamina. Each near miss forced him to adjust, to overextend. Maya's blade found the power nodes in his armor, not trying to pierce his hide, but simply disabling the systems that enhanced his already formidable strength. When Gorath finally tired, when his swings became a fraction slower, Maya struck. Not at him, but at his hammer. Her legendary blade cut through the weapon's haft, severing the connection between the power core and the striking head. The hammer went dead in Gorath's hands. The Kronar stood there holding a useless weapon. Then he laughed, a sound like rolling thunder. You fight with ancestors at your back, he said. This I respect. He dropped the broken hammer and raised his hands. I yield, the crowd erupted. Maya bowed respectfully and helped Gorath to his feet. Zeklan's semifinal was brutal efficiency. He dismantled his opponent in under 2 minutes, leaving the other cadet unconscious on the arena floor. Medical teams rushed in. The crowd fell silent. As Zeklan left the arena, his eyes found Maya in the prep area. His skin pulsed angry purple. No smile, no acknowledgement, just cold hatred. Jack appeared at Maya's side. He's going to try to hurt you, Jack said quietly. Not just beat you. Actually hurt you, I know, Maya replied. She watched Zeklan disappear into the locker areas. But that's his weakness. He's fighting because he's angry. I'm fighting, The emergency briefing started at midnight. Maya was pulled from sleep by Academy security and escorted to a conference room she hadn't known existed. Admiral Morrison sat at the head of a long table. Professor Haltrex floated beside her, his crystalline clusters pulsing anxious orange. Instructor Vexthor stood near the wall, all forearms crossed, and beside them were people Maya had only seen in news broadcasts. Federation admirals, council members, intelligence officers. They were all looking at her when she entered. "Sit, Cadet Sullivan," Morrison said. Her voice was tight with tension. "We have a situation and you're at the center of it." Maya sat. Her dagger felt heavy on her belt. "The message," she said quietly. "About the ships. It's real, isn't it?" "Very real," one of the intelligence officers confirmed. He was human, older, with scars that suggested a military background. "Commander Hayes, Federation Intelligence. We've been tracking these vessels for 3 days. They entered our space at the edge of the frontier and have been broadcasting the same message on repeat." He activated a holographic display that showed the alien ships in detail. They were massive, each one larger than most Federation cruisers. The hulls were dark, almost light-absorbent, and covered in symbols Maya didn't recognize. But the one she did recognize, the sword piercing a planet, appeared on every vessel. "Who are they?" Maya asked. "They call themselves the Collectors," Haltrex said. His voice carried a weight Maya had never heard before. "I have studied them for most of my life. They are not conquerors. They are not traitors. They are archaeologists, after a fashion. They travel between galaxies gathering legendary artifacts from civilizations across space and time." "Why?" Maya asked. "What do they want with legendary artifacts?" "To preserve them," Haltrex replied. "The Collectors believe that legendary items transcend ownership, that they belong to the universe itself, not to any single species or individual." He paused, his lights dimming. "They have been doing this for millions of years, longer than most civilizations have existed. They collect legendary artifacts and place them in what they call the Vault, a repository somewhere outside our galaxy where these items will supposedly exist forever." "They're thieves," Morrison said flatly. "They do not see it that way," Haltrex countered. "They ask politely. They offer compensation, but if refused, they take what they came for. They have never lost a confrontation." The holographic display changed, showing more images. Artifacts Maya didn't recognize. A staff that glowed with inner fire. A shield that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. A blade that looked like frozen starlight. All legendary, all now in the possession of the Collectors. "They've already visited 17 locations in Federation space," Commander Hayes said. "Museums, private collections, royal treasuries. In every case they arrived, made their request, and departed with the legendary artifact in question. No violence, no conflict, just polite absolute certainty that they would get what they came for. And they're coming here," Maya said. "For my blade." "Yes," Morrison confirmed. "We received formal communication from their lead vessel 6 hours ago. They request permission to dock at Sentinel Prime and meet with the bearer of the 18th legendary artifact. They want to add your family's dagger to their collection." Maya felt something cold settle in her stomach. "What happens if I say no?" "We don't know," Hayes admitted. "No one has ever refused them. The artifacts they've collected were valuable, yes, but they were also locked away, in museums, in vaults, safe but unused. Your blade is different. It's active. It's bonded to you. And it's in military service. That makes it more valuable to them," Haltrex added. "An active legendary artifact is exponentially more powerful than a dormant one. The quantum connections are stronger. The accumulated knowledge is more accessible." He looked at Maya with several of his crystalline clusters. "They will want your blade very much, perhaps more than any other artifact they have acquired." A council member Maya didn't recognize leaned forward. His species had blue skin and too many eyes. "Cadet Sullivan, we must be realistic. Your blade, while significant to your family, is ultimately just a weapon. We have plasma rifles. We have antimatter missiles. We have ships that can destroy planets. Is one dagger worth the risk of conflict with a species this advanced? Maya felt anger flash hot in her chest. This blade is not just a weapon, it's my family's legacy. 6 generations of service, 6 generations of sacrifice. She stood, her chair scraping back. You want me to give it up because you're afraid? We want you to consider the greater good, the council member replied. One blade versus the safety of billions. The choice seems obvious. Does it? Maya looked around the table. If I give up my family's heritage because someone more powerful demands it, what does that say to every other human in the Federation? What does it say to every species that joins us? That if you're strong enough, you can take whatever you want? That legacy and heritage mean nothing compared to fear? The room fell silent. Admiral Morrison spoke quietly. The decision is yours, Maya. The Federation Council will abide by whatever you choose. But you need to understand what's at stake. If you refuse, there could be conflict. The collectors have never resorted to violence, but we don't know what they're capable of. We don't know if our weapons would even work against their technology. How long do I have? Maya asked. They arrive in 64 hours, Commander Hayes said. They've requested a meeting with you personally. Maya sat back down. She thought about her great-great-grandfather, forging this blade from a meteorite because it was the only piece of home he could carry to war. She thought about her mother, touching the blade before making the decision that saved 300 people and cost her own life. What would they want her to do? I need to think, Maya said finally. Can I have until they arrive? Of course, Morrison replied. But Maya, understand this. We can't protect you if you refuse. The collectors are beyond anything we've faced. If they decide to take the blade by force, I'm not sure we can stop them. Then I'll have to convince them not to, Maya said. The next 2 days were chaos. The Academy went on alert. Federation ships positioned themselves around Sentinel Prime. Marines deployed to key locations. Everyone prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. Maya spent the time alone mostly. She trained with her blade, going through the forms her mother had taught her. She cleaned and oiled the weapon. She sat in meditation, reaching through the quantum bond to feel her ancestors. Jack found her on the observation deck the night before the collectors were due to arrive. He sat beside her without asking, just offering his presence. They watched the stars in silence for a long time. I'm scared, Maya admitted finally. Me too, Jack said. But I believe in you. You're the stubbornest person I've ever met. If anyone can face down galaxy-traveling artifact hunters, it's you. Maya smiled despite herself. Stubborn. That's what my mother used to call me too, runs in the family apparently. Jack paused. Whatever you decide, I'll support you. We all will. Throck, Shira, the other human cadets. You're not alone in this. I know, Maya said. She touched the blade on her belt, but in the end it's my choice. My responsibility. The collector ships arrived exactly on schedule. 3 massive vessels that made Federation cruisers look like toys. They took up position outside the station's defensive perimeter and broadcast their message: peaceful intentions, request for meeting, assurance of no hostility. Admiral Morrison assembled a delegation to greet them. Maya, Morrison herself, Professor Haltrex, Commander Hayes, and a half-dozen council members, including the one who had wanted Maya to surrender the blade immediately. The collectors sent a shuttle. When it docked and the airlock opened, 3 beings emerged. They were humanoid in basic shape, but there was something wrong about them. They seemed to exist slightly out of phase with normal reality. When Maya looked at them directly, they appeared solid, but in her peripheral vision they were translucent, ghostly. The lead collector stepped forward. Its voice came not from its mouth but from everywhere at once, speaking perfect standard galactic. I am called the Curator. We are the collectors, guardians of legendary artifacts across 3 galaxies. We have come for the blade carried by Cadet Maya Sullivan. Morrison stepped forward. The Federation welcomes you, but we must inform you that Cadet Sullivan's weapon is personal property, passed down through her family. It is not ours to give. The curator's form shimmered. We understand attachment. We understand sentiment. But legendary artifacts transcend individual ownership. They are treasures of the universe itself. We preserve them, protect them, ensure they exist for eternity. Its attention shifted to Maya. You are young. You will age and die. But in our vault, your blade will live forever. Forever in a box, Maya said quietly. Never used, never serving its purpose. Its purpose is to exist, the curator replied. To be remembered. What greater purpose is there? To protect people, Maya said. She drew the blade, and it began to glow with those luminescent patterns. This dagger has saved lives. It stood between innocence and harm for 400 years. Every person who carried it made that choice. To use it, to risk it, to let it be what it was meant to be. The curator studied the glowing blade. Its form flickered between solid and transparent. Active bonding, it observed. Quantum connections at full strength. This makes your blade even more valuable. We have not. The research station Kepler-9 hung dead in space, orbiting a gas giant that painted it in shades of orange and red. Through the viewport of the collector shuttle, Maya could see that all lights were dark. No power, no heat, no life support running. Just a metal tomb with 43 people trapped somewhere inside. The curator's voice filled the shuttle. The predators entered the station 22 hours ago. They consumed the main reactor first, then spread through the station, draining all power sources. The survivors sealed themselves in Section 7 and cut all power connections. The predators appeared drawn to active energy. So I walk in there blind, Maya said. No lights, no sensors, no way to know where the predators are. You have your blade, the curator replied. It exists partially in quantum space, as do the predators. It will sense them. Maya touched the dagger on her belt. Will it be enough? The curator was silent for a moment. That is what we are here to determine. The shuttle docked at an emergency airlock. Maya suited up in a standard EVA suit, checked her seals, and grabbed a small portable power cell. The curator had said the predators were drawn to energy. Good. She would give them something to chase. The airlock opened, and Maya stepped into darkness. Her suit's helmet light barely penetrated the black. She moved carefully through corridors that had once been full of life. Now they were full of bodies. Scientists frozen where they fell when life support failed. Engineers who had tried to reach the reactor. Families who hadn't made it to safe zones. Maya forced herself to look away and keep moving. Section 7 was 3 levels down and half a kilometer forward. She had memorized the station's layout during the flight. Now she had to trust that memory in the dark. A sound echoed through the corridor. Not mechanical. Not human. Something that made her skin crawl even through the protection of her suit. The predators were close. Maya drew her blade. Immediately, the luminescent patterns began to glow, brighter than she had ever seen them. The light pushed back the darkness, revealing her surroundings in blue-white radiance. And it revealed something else. Shapes moving in the shadows. Forms that hurt to look at directly. The predators were everywhere, clinging to walls and ceilings, existing partially out of phase with normal reality. They looked like nothing Maya had words for. Angular and flowing at the same time. Solid and transparent. Wrong in ways that made her brain hurt. One of them noticed her light. Noticed the power cell on her belt. It dropped from the ceiling and came at her with speed that shouldn't have been possible. Maya's body moved before her mind caught up. The blade came up and met the predator mid-leap. The legendary metal cut through whatever the creature was made of, severing it cleanly. The predator didn't scream. It just dissolved, breaking apart into quantum foam that dissipated in seconds. More came. They poured from doorways and access hatches drawn by the light and power. Maya ran, not away from Section 7, but toward it. Let them chase her. Let them focus on her instead of the survivors. She activated the power cell, cranking it to maximum output. The energy signature blazed like a beacon. Every predator in the station would feel it. They would all come for her. Good. Maya ran through darkness lit only by her blade's glow. Behind her, she heard them coming. The sound they made was like glass breaking, like metal tearing, like screams from somewhere outside normal space. There were dozens of them, maybe more. She reached Section 7's outer door. It was sealed, as the curator had said. Maya pounded on the metal. Federation cadet, she yelled. Open up! For a long moment, nothing. Then a voice came through her suit's radio. The emergency channel. How do we know you're real? How do we know you're not another trick? My name is Maya Sullivan. I'm 22 years old. I'm from Montana on Earth, and I'm here to get you out. She glanced back. The predators were getting closer. But I need you to open this door right now. The door cracked open. A face appeared in the gap, illuminated by battery-powered light. A middle-aged man with tired eyes and a beard that needed trimming. You're just a kid, I'm a Federation cadet, Maya corrected. And I've got about 10 seconds before those things get here. You want to debate my age or you want to live? The man pulled the door open. Maya dove through. Behind her, predators slammed into the closing door. The metal held, but she could see them phasing through, their forms flickering between solid and ghost. They couldn't fully enter the sealed section, but they were trying. How many survivors? Maya asked, getting to her feet. 43, the man said. His name tag read Chen. I'm the station engineer. We've been trapped here since yesterday. We tried to send distress calls, but everything's dead. No power. No communications, nothing. I'm your communication, Maya said, and I'm getting you out. Where's the nearest escape pod bay? Far side of the station. Chen shook his head. We'd have to cross 5 sections. All of them crawling with those things. We tried once. Lost 8 people. We can't make it. Yes, you can, Maya said. She held up her blade, its light filling the small sealed space. Because I'm going to draw them away. When I do, you run. You don't stop. You don't look back. You get to those pods and you launch. Understood? A woman holding a small child spoke up. You'll die. There must be 20 of those creatures out there. Probably more, Maya agreed. She checked her power cell. Still full. Still broadcasting. But I've got something they want, and I've got a blade that can kill them. That's enough. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, stepped forward. She reached out and touched the glowing blade. It's pretty, Maya knelt down. It's also brave, and it's going to protect you. She looked up at the adults. All of you, I promise. The girl nodded, trusting completely in the way only children can. Maya stood and moved to the door. Open it on my mark. When I'm clear, you run the opposite direction. Don't look back. Don't wait for me. Just run. Chen moved to the door controls. This is insane. It's the mission, Maya replied. She thought about her mother, who had done the exact same thing on a different station. Stayed behind so others could escape? The difference was her mother hadn't survived. Maya intended to break that pattern. She activated her suit's external speakers. Ready? Chen nodded. Mark, the door opened. Maya burst through, blade blazing, power cell screaming its energy signature. Every predator in the corridor turned toward her. She saw their forms shift, saw hunger in whatever passed for their minds. They came at her like a wave of impossible geometry and barely contained violence. Maya ran, not away from them, but through them. Her blade cut left and right, finding forms that phased between dimensions. Each strike dissolved a predator, but there were always more. They came from the walls, the ceiling, the floor itself. They existed everywhere and nowhere at once. Behind her, she heard the survivors running, heard their footsteps echoing away. Good. Keep going. Don't stop. A predator materialized in front of her. Maya slid under it, blade cutting upward. The creature dissolved. She rolled to her feet and kept running, leading the swarm deeper into the station, further from Section 7 and the escaping survivors. Her suit's radio crackled. Chen's voice. We're at the pod bay, prepping for launch. How do we get you out? You don't, Maya replied. She dodged a predator's strike and countered with her blade. Just go. Get those people safe. But that's an order, Maya said, putting every bit of her mother's command authority into her voice. Launch now. There was a pause. Then, thank you, Cadet Sullivan. We won't forget this. The radio went silent. Maya was alone with the predators now. She stood in a large cargo bay, surrounded by at least 15 of the creatures, maybe 20. They circled her, testing her defenses, looking for weaknesses. Her suit's power was running low. The portable power cell was nearly drained. And she was tired, so tired. But the blade in her hand glowed bright, and through it she felt them. 6 generations standing beside her. Her great-great-grandfather, who had held a position alone against overwhelming odds in a jungle on the other side of Earth. Her great-grandmother, who had commanded a ship through an asteroid field while under fire, getting her crew to safety. Her grandfather, who had fought hand-to-hand with pirates when his weapons ran dry, buying time for colonists to escape. Her grandmother, who had held a breach in a ship's hull with nothing but courage and a pressure suit until reinforcements arrived. Her mother, who had stayed on a dying station to evacuate civilians, knowing she wouldn't make it out. They had all faced impossible situations. They had all chosen to stand anyway. Not because they thought they would win, but because it was the right thing to do. Maya planted her feet and held her blade ready. "Okay," she said to the circling predators. "Let's see what a legendary blade can really do." They came at her all at once. A wave of quantum horror that should have been impossible to survive. But Maya didn't just survive. She fought. The blade moved in patterns she hadn't known she knew. Her body flowed through forms her great-great-grandfather had learned in hand-to-hand combat. Her tactical mind, guided by her great-grandmother, read the predators' movements and predicted their strikes. Her grandfather's stubbornness kept her feet planted when instinct screamed to run. Her grandmother's compassion reminded her what she was fighting for. Her mother's determination burned in her chest like a star. One predator fell, then two, then five. The blade didn't just cut. It disrupted them on a quantum level, unraveling whatever held them.